Hi everyone, it's Gerald, the Grand Seiko guy with you, and we're here today with another listing that will be going on the website. Showing you four watches here. It's actually the watch on the right, which this video will be concentrating on, which is the 5646 7020. But I thought it'd be interesting just to do a quick overview of these four references, because one of the standout features of the 5646 7020 is, of course, its faceted crystal, and I thought it would be a good opportunity, since we're listing this one, to show the other faceted crystals that existed on vintage Grand Seikos. Now, we have nearly all of them here. We're actually missing just one, which is another variant of the watch on the left, which is the 6146 8010, also known as the Arabesque, due to the graphic around the applied GS logo. But let's just run through them. So this is this one here on the left hand side, 6146 8010, and then we have the 6156 8010 special. Then, just as a representative example of the 6145 and 6146 8050 series, and finally, as mentioned, the 5646 7020. This one here, this is the brown gradient dial version of the 6146. Gosh, so many numbers of the 6146 8050, which I listed recently. Obviously, this one, for those of you who have been following these videos, you'll know that this is actually this series watch was actually available in 7 different versions, 4 with day date, with green, blue, white, and brown dials, and then 3 with just the date in green, blue, and white dials. The Arabesque, which is the first Grand Seiko that was introduced with a faceted crystal, this is actually available with 2 different faceted crystals. The one that we see here has the vertically faceted crystal, three panels, if you like, on the crystal. There is also a pyramid-shaped faceted crystal, which is a very, very subtle facet, which is pretty tough to come by. So there are actually two versions of this. In terms of introduction dates, these are shown in the order in which they were introduced to the range. So we start with the Arabesque, which was featured in the 1970, or launched, I should say, in the 1970 Volume 1 catalogue, then appeared in the 1970 Volume 2, and that was it. So that was only in the range for 1 year. The next one to appear was the special. Apologies, no, the next one to appear was actually, yes, it was the special, sorry, which is this one here. That first appeared in 1971 Volume 1, and also was in the 1972 catalogue, so that was there for 2 years. We mentioned previously that the 6145 and 6146 8050s never appeared in any catalogues, but they did appear in the 1972 December issue of Seiko Sales, so that's when they were presumably introduced, although we don't see them in the catalogues. And then finally the last one, which was the 5646 7020, which only appeared in 1973. It was in just the Volume 1 and Volume 2 catalogues of that year. So pretty all of them really fairly short-lived pieces, but very, very interesting, of course, because of the facets on the crystal. What I'm going to do now is just pause the video and just rearrange the watches so you can see the different shapes of the crystals. Before I do, just know that it is very obvious, even from this distance, that we can see the facets on this crystal, whereas the other ones are a lot more subtle. So let's just have a look at the differences between the faceting. Okay, so just one by one. First up, the Arabesque, so the 6146 8010. This one and the special, actually, the only 2 Grand Seikos that are listed as being with sapphire crystals. And you can see very clearly there the facets. You have a wide, flat bit down the centre of the watch, and then vertically falls off on the sides. And you can see, just get absolutely fantastic refraction through the prisms, effectively, that the facets create. So there's the Arabesque. Take that one out and bring in the special. And this is very, very similar, as you can see. 2 vertical facets. These aren't actually the same crystal. They do have different part numbers. I've no idea whether they're interchangeable or not. But these 2 crystals are listed as separate parts in the parts guide. But again, a very, very nice effect that you get there from the light. Next up is the 61, 46, 80, 50, and again we have vertically faceted crystals, again fairly similar to what we see on the other two. What you'll notice is these are actually fairly shallow. It's quite interesting. Let's just bring, because it's clearer to see with the light coloured dial. You can see the different thickness of the crystal around the edge. So obviously here this is the raised bit, so this is fairly high here, and then sort of almost like a normal height crystal at the side. Let's just bring in the 56, because this is quite astonishing as a comparison. Here we don't have just vertical, we also have horizontal facets, so it actually sort of referred to as a 9 faceted crystal, and much, much deeper, or if you look at it the other way, much, much thicker crystal to start off with than we see on the 61 series watches. You can see the 9 facets there, absolutely incredible, and they really do capture and play with the light exceptionally well, and huge refraction because of the, obviously it's such thick crystal, and fairly severe angles on that. This watch we've actually had in stock, so just talk about the watch, let's talk about the watch generally now. This watch we've actually had in stock now for some time, but it actually came to us with the wrong crystal, and we weren't sure how long it would take before we could either find another example, maybe with an intact crystal but a beaten up case to take the crystal from. But in actual fact, we just recently managed to find a brand new old stock crystal. I'll drop in now in the video. Let's just have a look at a focus stack of that crystal, and there you can see just how absolutely perfect this one is. No dings, no chips at all. And these crystals, obviously, if you think the additional height this would have given the watch, the crystal that would have created on the watch, obviously means it's probably more susceptible to bangs and knocks as people are wearing it. So very, very few of these survive the years with intact crystals, and as I said, as a spare part, it's almost like hunting for hen's teeth. Very, very hard to get hold of. Okay, so that's an overview of the crystals. Now I'll just pause, and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at the watch itself, and just have a look at the general condition of the watch. Okay, so once we look beyond the crystal, the obvious thing about this watch is that we have a beautifully graduated green dial, which is sort of a light green in the center of the dial, and then graduates out to a darker green around the edges. This is pretty much unique. I mean, there's no other dial like this in the range. Obviously this is a 56-46 movement, so the great thing is that we have the dual language day wheel in both kanji and English, so you can pick which language you want your day in. Obviously I think a lot of people choose to have kanji. It's just makes it a much more interesting watch to look at through the day. And obviously it's also quick set. Both the day and the date are quick set on the 56, whereas on the 61-46 it's only the date which is quick set. So this is I guess you could say the 56-46 is a more practical watch to own and wear on a regular basis than the 61-46. Obviously it's beating slightly slower at 28,800 beats per hour, but an absolutely fantastic movement. The only thing you have to be very careful about with this movement is do not try to quick set the day or date in what we call the danger zone. So that's really from about 9 p.m. All the way through until about 5 a.m. Just being on the very safe side there with those times. These movements have a little plastic part in the quick set mechanism which breaks very, very easily. It's probably the most unreliable part of any vintage Grand Seiko, but it's relatively easily fixable, and there are aftermarket metal parts now available. But just if for the people who own these 56 series movements, that's a growing number of you out there, do be careful when you're quick setting the day or the date on your watch. The case is unique on this. It's quite interesting. Let's just bring in we'll bring in the 6156. Sorry, the 6146, just to compare the cases. And what you'll notice is the 56 sort of is, I guess you call that sort of a scalloping, where the case is cut back in here and then comes out. You see that sort of curve there, whereas the more typical Grand Seiko case, which is like, I guess, the grammar design, is sort of a convex curve all the way from the crown round to the lugs. So unique case on here. Also has the hooded lugs, which very few vintage Grand Seikos do. So whether you put a bracelet on this or a leather strap, where the spring bar goes is going to be completely hidden. And obviously you can see it's got this sort of mountain shape to the hooded lugs. In terms of the condition of this case, it's an odd one. It's generally in very good condition, but I think someone has had some pretty poor attempts at maybe taking the bezel off at some point, because there are scratch marks you can see here and here. They're not too offensive, but they are there. The case has a few little dings and knocks on it. It's certainly not mint condition. I think this has probably been sort of gently polished at some point in the past, but generally very nice condition. Flipping it over, lovely case back with a genuine medallion in very, very good condition. And we can just see there, looking at the serial number starting with 28. So this is production from August 1972. And let's just have a look at the other side. We've already had quite a few inquiries on this watch, just from listing it on or mentioning it on Instagram. I don't think it's going to hang around for very long. This is only the third example of this that we've had. We do see more examples of this watch, but very often they're in very poor condition. As I said, without the faceted crystal, this watch really doesn't make an awful lot of sense. So the fact that we've been able to source a new old stock faceted crystal really does add to this one a lot. I think it's going to be very desirable. So this video will be going on the website shortly. I almost forgot. Let's just run the studio video that I did. So you can see as this video is running, you get a really good understanding as to how those facets are cut on the crystal. Also have a look at the little dings you can see on the case, probably clearer here than in the outdoor video of the birds singing. Really good view of the dial there, and that amazing shaped case that's sort of convex at the Grand Seiko crown and then goes concave before it meets up to the lugs. Very, very interesting case design, and as I said, with the covered lugs. Okay, so there we go. Right, let's just finish off one last look at this in the sunlight. Absolutely fantastic piece. As I said, this will be on the website very, very shortly, or in fact it will be on the website now as I publish this video, from the link below. If you click that link, you'll be taken through to the website. You can then reveal the price, and if you are interested in this watch, please do fill out the inquiry form and drop us a line. Although, as I said, I don't expect this to hang around very long. In fact, it may even be sold by the time this goes live, but it's nice to be able to show these to people so that you get a really good understanding as to just the incredible variety of design and incredible quality of pieces that Grand Seiko were making back in the 60s and 70s. Okay, thank you very much indeed for watching, and hope everyone is staying safe and at home and heeding the very good advice to socially distance yourselves. Hopefully we'll get through this very worrying period, but the watches will always be here and always available, and while FedEx is still shipping around the world, we're still happy to take your orders and ship these out to you. So thank you very much everyone, and we'll be back with you soon.